Today on Heber Valley Life Podcast, I'm joined by Amy Schulthess, the founder and owner of Wigglish Toys and Games, a beloved toy store that has been inspiring creativity and meaningful play since 2012. Inspired by her time living in Paris, so excited to hear about that, and her background as a children's librarian, Amy set out to bring heirloom-quality toys, award-winning books, and thoughtful curated games to families here in Utah. Amy has built Wigglish into a place where imagination, sustainability, and real-world connection come first, offering families alternatives to screens and one-time use toys. Amy, I am so excited to have you on the podcast today.
Well, thank you. I'm delighted to be here.
Thanks so much. And we talked about the Diet Coke. I love that this is your security blanket.
Yes.
You're probably not the only one. Let's talk about the name Wigglish. I understand it comes from the BFG.
Yes, my Roald Dahl. He was not a prolific writer, but had a very specific approach to his writing. Mm-hmm. And it's where the world we know turns into the world we don't know, or the world that could be.
Yeah, that imagination.
And I'm a former children's librarian, as we mentioned before. And the BFG has always been one of my favorites, but I felt like I really identified with the main character, Sophia. Sophia is this insignificant little girl with glasses and overlooked at the orphanage. And, you wouldn't expect great things from her. But one day she encounters the land of the giants. Mm-hmm. And instead of being terrified, she meets one that's kind. She sees through all of his scary gruffness, and they become very, very good friends. The plot of the story is that the giant's role is to send nightmares across London, the UK, and they devise a plan to involve the Queen of England to make sure that those nightmares are no longer distributed. And it's kind of a David and Goliath story where the littlest thing and the most small, diminutive person can make such an impactful change. And what are kids but these small, insignificant things that rock your world, that change everything you know about life, everything you know about parenting. I mean, your center of gravity changes when you have a child. And that's what Wigglish was about. It was, this is what really matters now to me. We opened it when my children were young. And so it was easy to have toy testers, etc.
I love it. It's like you transported me back to third grade.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I'm like remembering reading that book, and you transported me just in describing the name of your toy company.
Yeah. Wigglish is a specific phrase. The Sophia and the giant are trying to communicate, and she can't understand him. And finally, he growls out, "I speak Wigglish," meaning English. Mm. And that's where it came from, because Wigglish is part pretend, part real, part everything a child could imagine.
I love that you took a dream, though, and made it real. I think so many people have dreams, especially moms that are like, I love this, I want to take it to the next step. But you really did it. Talk us through kind of initially starting this toy store and how you did it.
Well, there's two stories. One is really lovely, and it's about living in Paris with my toddlers, which I did. We lived there for a year, and my girls were 4 and 2. And in that 1 year, we went to at least 17 different countries, because, an hour away is 3 countries. And because my husband was always doing work, I was looking for ways to entertain kids. What's a better way to entertain kids than to go to toy stores? And so we started to go to all these toy stores in every city, from Oslo down to Italy and Spain, Gibraltar even. And I'd see these really well-made toys, and they're beautiful, and I couldn't take them all home because I didn't have room in my baggage to just bring these to our house. So On one of these trips, we picked up what is known as Mousy. Mousy was Gigi's best friend in the world. We did not leave the house without Mousy for many, many years. And when we moved back to the U.S., a few years later, we decided Mousy needed some friends. But the brand that made Mousy was very hard to find in the U.S. It's called Monetization. And so I started hunting around for Mousy friends. And I eventually found somebody who's importing them into the U.S. and thought, this is fantastic. And I bought as many Mousy friends as I could. We have Mousy in the jumbo size, the miniature size. We have her duck best friend. It was just kind of a fantastic feeling to bring that feeling of inspiration and quality of toys that we found overseas and have at our house.
Yes.
Now, the other story is a little less exciting.
I was going to say, that was pretty exciting. Let's talk about the real.
So the real side is that in 2009, my former husband and I moved from Bay Area to Heber. And when you do that, California dollars buy a lot of people's house. And
I love the honesty. You're like, yes.
And we happened to come right when, houses were the lowest of the low. Every house we looked at on the street we bought on was in foreclosure. Great for us, not so great for other people now. And we started selling on Amazon. My former husband worked for Google and knew a lot about technology and all these up-and-coming businesses. And Amazon was one that he was really intrigued by. So at first we started selling specialty children's toys and games. And it was really easy. Just threw it at Amazon and money bounced back. And it was great. It was fun. You could pick out things you really liked. There were no spreadsheets. There was no rhyme or reason to it. You just picked it out, sent it, and then you got a check. Well, over the years, as you can imagine, that ceased to be the case. And it just became harder and harder and harder to the point where it was absolutely no fun. And not only not fun, but horrible. I just felt like such a cog in a wheel. Everything I was doing was so impersonal and all had to do with, ROIs and all these other investment terms. And it just felt terrible.
I mean, it's almost like every entrepreneur goes through this. You have this big dream. You're all of a sudden you're making happen. You're making money, but you're exhausted.
You're exhausted. And then Amazon starts bringing in all these rules that make it so we don't make money. Mm-hmm. And they just piled on and piled on and piled on and piled on. And the children's market got particularly competitive, so we switched to being a general merchandiser, which meant I was selling things like hardware parts and battery packs and things I had no connection to. And they just became widgets. Mm. And, it's not very fun to sell a widget, especially when you're losing money. Yeah. So as of this past summer, I've actually finally shut down the Amazon portion of our business.
Wow.
And so we don't sell there anymore.
Which is so interesting because I have heard just even recently, if you're an Amazon link provider, all of a sudden there's an opportunity to make money, but you have found just the opposite.
I found just the opposite. Even when you manufacture and make your own products, it's just, it's 1 in a million chance that your item is going to make you.
Fascinating.
And so I would absolutely never, ever recommend somebody go into it. It's a sterile environment with no access to humans when there's a problem. And when I compared that to what I was experiencing at Wigglish, there was just no comparison. Wigglish was fun to go to work every day. It was fun to pick out new toys and see kids just eyes bug out when they walked in the store. Mm-hmm. And I loved that. So
is that in 2012 when you decided I want a brick and mortar as well as this online opportunity?
No, the brick and mortar happened closer to 2013-ish, when we realized we had overstock in these specialty toys and games. So what better to do with them than open a toy store? And we were lucky. We had really great products, and we started in a room that was like 10 by 10 and didn't advertise. And
I remember this. All of a sudden, I'm like, I remember walking in and going, is this a store?
It was weird. I'm telling you, we had gone from like garage sale setup to, hiring people to help us plan out the store and everything in between. And the store did well, and people liked what we picked out. And it just became more and more fun. We started going to toy shows, mm-hmm. meeting sales reps, and figuring out what kind of toys sold in Heber, and with a heavy lean toward the kind of toys I liked.
Yeah, let's talk about those, because you really have this niche right now. Educational toys, trendy finds, board games, novelty items, seasonal gifts. I want to know how you select your inventory. I do know that you go to a show with some of your teammates.
Yes.
And it's a big deal. And it's a stressful kind of weekend.
It's not stressful. It's a marathon.
Yeah.
And you wear your comfort shoes, and you have a big bag, and you're taking notes, and people are flying around you. But if you can find a minute of calm, you can really look around and say, wow, that's a cool thing. I want that pretend kitchen at my store, because I like it better than the 35 other pretend kitchens I've seen.
Right.
And so
you're kind of sorting through, because there's so much out there.
There is so much out there. And, when it comes to your kids, you want the best. Mm-hmm. Or at least the best that works within your budget and your household or the space you have. And it's great to see so many options, but really hone in on those that I think are fantastic. Mm-hmm. One of my first rules for toys is, would I want this in my own house? I have been known to vacuum up Legos, Polly Pocket shoes, etc. And I realized that if I am so tired of a toy that I am vacuuming it up rather than bending down to pick it up, maybe I shouldn't have more of that toy in my house. And maybe there's other toys that would be better. So we started working with importers from toys from Germany and the Netherlands and Denmark, France in particular. And it was just so much fun. The aesthetics were different. The quality was different. The packaging was different. It was a whole new world of toys that growing up with a Toys R Us I had never experienced. Right. These were wooden toys, things that were meant to last for more than one generation. And I call these heirloom toys. And they're the toys that I kept from when my children were little to what I have now in my smaller collection and my grandkids.
I love that. Let's talk about the digital addiction and digital toys. Because when I walk into the store, you're describing exactly what, the heirloom toys, the wooden toys, the games that bring families to the kitchen table to enjoy each other. How do you intentionally kind of choose those different toys that keep hands and minds engaged to keep them offline?
It's sort of on accident. When my children were little and they had an electric, say, lightsaber, and the batteries ran out, I would never. We had a sit and spin that the girls just loved that made music, but when the batteries died, it still worked. It just didn't play music and drive me crazy. So I eventually just stopped replacing batteries in the toys in our house. And when I was shopping for toys for the store, I realized that you have so much fun if your imagination is the driver. A lightsaber is so much more fun when you're making your own sounds and fighting the tree in the backyard. And it opens up a new way of playing, not necessarily that the manufacturer designed, but what your child comes up with. And that's the best thing. As far as specialty games and things like that, I really like to have games that not just bring families together, but solve problems. I have a 4-year-old grandson who is struggling with math, and his mother is an actual math teacher. So for Christmas, I researched and I got this great math game. And he opened it and wasn't super excited. But a few weeks later, I hear from his mom that this is the best math game she's ever played. She's going to get it for her classroom at her middle school. That all my research that I'd gone to looking for this great math game was really playing out. And it's so, which is why I believe shopping in person is so important, because you wouldn't know what this great math game was if I came in out of the box and didn't have all the bells and whistles that the other things were, that you could use it in 15 different ways as a child's math skills progressed. And they could put their 4-year-old and their 6-year-old, and neither would be bored. So there's a toy out there for everything. And you just have to spend a little time looking for it.
The word that just keeps coming to mind is intentional parenting.
Yeah.
And that you're giving them the tools. So often your kid's fussing, you just hand them the phone because it's easy and it's successful. And what you're doing is now creating an addiction. When I want my parents' attention, I get their phone because that's what has their attention. But yet you have a toy store now that's full of toys that are engaging and keep the mind and the body kind of disconnected from the digital.
It's true. Recent high school graduation, they go on for hours here in Wasatch. And my daughter was graduating, and my stepdaughter was coming with her 6-month-old baby. And that's a very long time to sit with a 6-month-old baby in the Bunny Palace in uncomfortable chairs, the people surrounding you, and a lot going on. And I brought my new favorite rattle. He kept that baby at a chair for 2 hours. It was just a silicone rattle with lots of parts where your fingers could squish in and you could chew on it, and it kind of bounced, and you could kind of pull pieces apart and get your hand inside. And this simple $14 rattle kept her baby engaged for the entire graduation. Now, she could have went down her phone, because I know that baby knows how to swipe. Right. They're better computers than I am. Yeah. And swiping is great, but you're always looking for the next best thing. There's going to be one more TikTok video, and it's going to change my life. And then there's going to be one more. And what if you just focused on one thing and saw what it could do? And I see toys all the time used for intentions they were not designed for. Those are the best toys of all, because kids get a chance to say, I don't want this to be a train set. I want this to be a racetrack. And we're going to race stuffed animals sitting on dump trucks and see how fast they go.
Amy, I love how your mind works, though. It reminds me of the teacher. I mean, obviously, you pick some of this up from the librarian, and you have a sister that is very involved in the school district.
I'm the black sheep of my family. Every aunt, uncle, and cousin on one side of my family are teachers, including my mother and my sister.
Well, you come by it naturally.
I think it's the bossiness that passes through, that we are not afraid to speak our mind.
I love it. I want to talk about the difference, because now you really are operating both an in-person store, brick and mortar on Highway 40, cute little Wigglish, tucked in. If you don't know it's there, it's hard to find. We're going to find you a location. But then you've got the e-commerce platform. Talk to me about the difference of running these two very different, but still offering the same products.
So I'll tell you the secret. we got our website up for 4 or 5 years and made about 12 sales. Now, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because I know that the toys I pick kind of need to be hand sold. You need to feel how soft the new line of Douglas plush is. And grandmas buy them for themselves once they pick them up and realize, oh, I want to pet this all day long. And you just don't get that experience online. I could describe how soft it is. I could compare it to a mink. I could do everything like that, but until you touch it, you don't get that little tingle of, wow, this is something I want. You read reviews and you look at well-taken pictures, and it's a really sterile experience. I think stuffed animals are a great example because when was the last time a grandma bought a stuffed animal online for herself? You'd never do that. But if you saw it in person, you found this platypus that was just everything you ever dreamed that you didn't know you needed. It's exciting, it's fun, and it brings you back to your childhood. And so selling things in person is just the best way to do it. I want to tell someone the story of how this company came to be, and they're hand painted in Germany, and oh, they discontinued this toy, but this is the new one they came out with. This is how it's improved and better. And it's so fun to sell in person that I spend all of my advertising dollars on bringing people into the store and not onto my website.
It's so interesting because it's so the opposite of how people are thinking they need to shop. I mean, you started at Amazon and intentionally said, you know what? It's not for me. I don't need to live in this world that's dark, shipping things out the back door. I want to welcome people in. I want to engage with people. And I will say, you have curated, I would say, a staff that is so welcoming. And I love when you walk in the door, they say, what are you looking for? Is this a birthday party? Is this a Christmas gift? Is this just something you want to give to a neighbor or a friend? But they truly do want to know about the child, the person that you're looking for. It's not just, how can I help you?
Yeah, we don't just want to sell the best selling toy.
Yeah.
We want to sell the right toy for the right child. And it's great. We see kids grow up, get braces on, get braces off. We see them after soccer games when they won the game and are there for a treat. But we ask questions of who are you shopping? You have to ship this, so is size an issue? We're very conscious that some of our toys are really expensive, and so we'll say, what type of budget do you have in mind? Because we don't want to make anyone uncomfortable. And we like knowing this is the right toy for this child. It may not be the fanciest or the most expensive, but from what you've described, I think your child will really like this. And we come back and they say they did. They loved it. What do you have that's like it? And it's great. It's a great feeling to feel like we hit the jackpot. And especially when people come back and tell us, like, oh, you were right. This was a great toy.
I love that. Recently we've seen so many toy stores and bookstores going out of business. What do you think is your secret sauce for staying in business since 2013?
I don't think there's a secret sauce. And I will openly admit it is very hard to keep our doors open. You don't go into a brick and mortar toy store of all things hoping to make millions. You're hoping to keep the lights on and hoping to be able to afford the inventory that you want to bring in. Honestly, we need locals. We need people who appreciate the types of things we have and the fact that we know about our toys. We want to help you. We're excited to gift wrap it. We keep a birthday registry. We do all these things, and it's all really intentional so that we can, lure you in once, and then you can wrap a present. I love big bows on presents. I think they always make them look better take it to a birthday party and the other moms ask, where'd you get that? And then they say Wigglish. And that is how people discover us.
All word of mouth.
Yes. You would be amazed that more than 50% of our customers every week say, how long have you been here? And they are just flabbergasted when I say 13 years. And like, in this location? And I say, yep, right here. We've been here the whole time.
You've almost debunked everything, though. You're in a terrible location. You're a one-off business. You're not franchised. You're not a big conglomerate. You're not selling online. You're truly there selling products that you believe in.
Yeah. When I was about 5 years old, my grandparents had a ranch in Wyoming, and I was the youngest grandchild. So I never got to get on the horses and cross the river and do all of that stuff. So he bought me a radio flyer tricycle that would work on the gravel around the house. And oh my gosh, when I saw that radio flyer tricycle sitting in the store and realized I got to take it home, it was just this magical, like, not only is this going to be fun, but I am loved. I have somebody who wants me to have fun, who's going to be out there teaching me how to ride it. And I'm going to have this great time, and it's going to be there every time I come visit Grandma and Grandpa. I'm going to have my tricycle. In my family, it is not unusual to keep good toys for a very long time. I have a teddy bear that's about 47 years old that has traveled with me all over the world. My mother has a teddy bear given to her in the early 50s by a future brother-in-law who didn't want her to be lonely when she slept at night. And my dad had an erector set from the late 1940s, and he turned into a mechanical engineer. And it's really just the start and the spark of what he found fascinating. And, you know, those heirloom toys that we keep that inspire are the ones that I like to focus on.
I love it. I'm just sitting here thinking, what are some trends that you have noticed in the toy industry, in the game industry, that there's timeless, there's trendy? Are there things that you think, okay, this is something that you will embrace, like teddy bear, like the tricycle? Mm-hmm. Are there specific things that you can think of?
There really are. Anything really well built that I think can last through more than one generation. Anything that you think, I'm going to save this. This is a great toy. I'm going to save it. Or I'm going to give it to my neighbor whose kids are just the right age for it because it was so fabulous. This isn't going to Goodwill or anything. I want to keep it. I want to send it to a family who can love it as much as my kids.
Oh my gosh, I am just sitting here thinking about the wooden blocks that I'd saved. Mm-hmm. I hope that someday a grandchild will be able to build those towers. And you're just making me think of all these like moments as a parent that I'm so glad that I got down on the floor and built that fort or had that experience with my child.
My mother still owns an Ewok village from about 1982 that my brothers got for Christmas. And now my brother's children play with the Ewok village. And it is so fun to have these flashbacks and memories of my brothers being little and the Ewoks and the net that pulls them up and being up in the trees, how exciting that was. And she still has it. And it's still super exciting to this new generation of kids. And I'm pretty sure it's not going anywhere anytime soon. And that it will go on to their kids. It's just this great toy.
So great. Okay, do you have a personal favorite of a toy or a board game right now?
Yes. We brought in at Christmas this kind of wooden rail track that a car zips back and forth and goes down really fast. And it flips over at each turn. And it came in a really ugly box. The box was brown. It barely had a picture of it. There wasn't even a name on it. but I'd seen it in person. I knew how cool it was. So finally, in the last couple of weeks, I'm going to open it. Nobody's going to ever buy this in this ugly box. And every person who comes into the store tries it. Moms, dads, grandparents. I will find myself scooting over there so I can try it. Just happen to walk past it. And it's great. It's great. It's this toy I would love to have in my house that is evergreen. You're always going to be fascinated by this zip, 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 zip. It's never going to break. And yes, it is a really expensive toy, but sometimes toys are worth it.
Yeah. It reminds me of the marble game. We had a marble game growing up, and I think it lasted 20 years before it finally, through the use and maybe grandkids that weren't quite as gentle with it, finally had its demise. But yeah, you think of these toys, but it puts you in that experience that you have.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I will say to little kids, come here, I'm going to show you something. I'm trying not to be the creepy person. Come show you something. I'm trying to be the friendly toy seller. And I'll say, put this up here. And they'll do it. And their eyes zip back and forth. And they'll just keep doing it until their parents realize I've lost my child. Mm-hmm. And I'll say, no, they're over here. Everything's good.
They're completely enthralled in this game.
Yeah. And it's an heirloom toy. It's one that people of all ages enjoy, for sure.
What's the one game? So I'm thinking about this question. What's the one game that every family should have? I think of Monopoly and Uno and, Skip 7 or Skip Boo. Mm-hmm. Is there a game that you have that you just think, I wish more people knew about this game?
No, there really, really isn't. Okay. I think that families and children come in all shapes and sizes. Mm-hmm. I have a 6-year-old grandson whose IQ is off the charts. Like, he could be working physics right now. I also have a nonverbal 5-year-old grandson. And they don't need the same toys. Or the goal isn't the same for each of them. And so it's just like a dress or a pair of shoes, one size fits all. Not everybody needs the same thing. Not everybody needs, X, Y, Z in their house to have everybody has to have Monopoly and everybody has to have Sorry and Uno. And they don't. They need the games that are going to inspire their own family to have fun. And it might be you need games for a group of 50. We have those. It might be a game that a child can play by themselves. We have them. We always ask who's going to be playing with the child. Are you looking for a long game or a short game? Or are you looking for an art activity that's, one and done, or something that can be used over and over again? And the more questions you ask, the more you find the just right toy for that family.
I feel like we've had a whole conversation about parenting, even though we've been talking about games and toys. I mean, it really makes me think in this day and age where parenting seems heavy and hard because there's so much going on. Technology seems to be a blessing and a curse. We've talked about an opportunity for parents to actually re-engage with their children through play.
It's true, because a lot of toys are not exciting. They have a singular purpose. They break. They are frustrating. They're expensive. There's always the next newest model that's coming out. What I like are games and things that Grandpa has just as much fun playing as the 6-year-old. And like the track I was describing, or funny games like Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza.
It is a family favorite.
It is a family favorite. Or Tenzi, where you can adjust it to work for a 3-year-old and the dad. Because no matter what the rules say for any game, you can always change them. You can change it to make it more fun, to be age appropriate, to be more inclusive. It's great. When my nonverbal grandson comes over, his favorite thing are these silk scarves. And he just loves to throw them up and land softly. And there's something soothing about that to him. And he's kind of a big, rough and tumble kid. He's definitely got developmental issues. He's progressing fabulously. But this moment of calm comes over him when he takes these big scarves, just throws them up. And it's just a beautiful thing to see how peaceful he is when he uses these scarves.
I love it. Looking ahead, what's next for Wigglish?
Oh, Wigglish would love to be in a better location. I've been actually looking for about 5 years for someplace that was closer to town. One, toys are big. Toys need a lot of space, more than a store that sells jewelry or knickknacks. Just one train set can be a 3x4 box that you're hefting around and trying to display. So we'd love to have a better location. We'd love for people just to know we're here. And I'm a good buyer of toys. I am terrible at advertising. I'm really bad at advertising. And so I just wish more people were there.
How do you describe it when someone asks for Wigglish?
I explain that we are in a place you would never expect. And if you are headed to Provo, don't turn at Provo, go straight, keep going straight, go through the light, go past the RV park, and then make a quick turn in where you see all these industrial supplies. And then there we are, crammed between a car detailing place and an electrical wholesale supply store. And it's ridiculous. I mean,
when you moved in, it was out of, this is what's available.
Yeah, well, we didn't find a hub store. It was all warehouse to ship things into Amazon. And suddenly we started carving out a little 10 by 10 section, and it grew a little more, and then it grew a little more. And now we've got about 3,300 square feet of space for toys. And that's a lot of space for a town that does not have a lot of retail space. And not just space, but space with parking. I worry about parents getting out of a van with their kids. So I can't have them park on Main Street. That's dangerous. I want them to feel safe and inviting and, have that mom that's pushing the stroller and has the 4 kids, have her really get to the store and not worry about the semi-trucks racing by.
I think it's amazing, though, despite of the challenges, and you really have navigated this world from e-commerce to brick and mortar and provided such an amazing opportunity for our community, like you said, to touch, feel, see, and experience these toys before they buy it. But to really come in and have that engagement with your staff, that your staff can actually help guide that purchase for what fits the need.
I have the most amazing staff on the planet. We talk all the time, what's your new favorite toy? What's your new favorite toy? Oh, I sold this to so-and-so, they really loved it. Back for more. And I think it's because we're all moms, former moms, current moms, and want the right thing for other people's kids, just like we want it for ourselves. And so we learn and we practice and we take games home to play and find out, is this really worth all the hype? And some of them are and some of them aren't. But we care. We want the kids to be happy on the other side.
This has been such a delightful conversation. I love that you've created a place where quality meets imagination, that you're helping families and really creating an intentional and thoughtful play. It keeps resonating with me that you really have provided a place where parents can go and find ways to engage with their children apart from their phone, which is so important right now. I just would encourage anyone, go step inside of Wigglish, make it a point to visit. And if you're listening from afar, he does have a website.
Yes, Wigglish.com.
But really I want people to listen this far to think about toys that were meaningful to you. And the next time you need to purchase a gift, consider it a toy or a book or a game here at Wigglish Toy Store. So, any parting words as we wrap up?
I just want to say that the best part of any day working at Wigglish is when someone who's never been there, a child, opens the door and their eyes get huge and they say, whoa. And we know we've scored. This mom, Dad, this is the best place I've ever been. And it's just like nothing makes me happier than that unrestrained awe that they feel. So I hope everybody does that too. It's Wigglish.
But thank you for creating a place that does that for children. We need more of that in our lives.
We do. And we're happy to provide just a little bit of it for the Heber Valley.
Thank you. Until next time, this is Heber Valley Life Podcast. Rachel Kaler, Executive Director of the Community Alliance for Main Street, Amy Schulthess with Wigglish. Thank you again for coming in early this morning. We celebrate the people who make our valley special to live, work, and grow, and we were one.
Thank you, Rachel.
Till next time.